Hello to all of you. We're so glad you came our way. We hope our time with you will be a blessing and increase your understanding of the Bible. If you would like to donate and help grow this ministry, please check the options below. And folks, we will send you a free copy of our booklet, Training Your Children in the Way They Should Go. Thank you so much. And now let's enjoy some questions and answers from the Bible. Hello, folks. Greetings to all of you out there in Bible land. Don't you wish our country was more of a Bible land? We hope we can help that. Glad you could join us. And remember, Jesus said, "Blessed are they that hunger and thirst." And this is what we want to do, hunger and thirst after the right things, and that's the Bible. So we welcome you to our Bible time together. We've designed this to help all to learn more of the Scriptures, so that when we learn the Scriptures, we learn truth. And it's that truth that makes us free. And by the way, this could be quite helpful in homeschooling, at home, at church, just about anywhere, because we do want to learn more and more of the Bible. Nancy and I are back, yes, eager, with some more questions. By the time we're done with the book of Genesis, we will have covered 1,433 questions with their answers. So let's get loaded, folks. You're going to learn, and the truth will help. Are you ready? We're still in the book of Genesis, and we enjoy this book for sure. Chapter 3 to begin with. How about question number 1? What was the characteristic of the serpent who had made his way into the garden?
Well, he was more subtle than any of the other beasts.
He was subtle. Oh, if we could just eliminate the subtleties of life. What was the serpent's first question of Eve?
He said, has God said you could not eat of every tree?
Yeah.
Well, how did he know that?
He thought he knew.
Yeah.
What was Eve's answer?
She says, we can eat of every tree except the tree in the middle of the garden, and we're not to touch it or eat it, or we will die.
Yeah. What was the serpent's reply?
Oh, subtle is right. He says, you won't die.
Yeah. How many times has he subtly told every one of us his kind of lies? What was the serpent's argument?
Why, he said, you'll become like gods.
I think he still tells that to us today. If you do this and that, you will be popular, and you will get ahead, and you will be a somebody. What 3 attractions caused Eve to eat?
Well, she saw that it was good for food. It looked really good, and she wanted to be wise.
Yeah. Good for food. Lust of the eyes, lust of the flesh, pride of life. Good for food. I wonder how much or how many other fruits there were that looked just as good. Maybe this looked extra good. Sometimes the ugly looks good only because you want it to look that way. More subtly of Satan. What was the sin that she committed, did it spread?
Oh yeah, Adam took up with it too.
Adam took up with it. My oh my. What effect did sin have upon them?
Well, all of a sudden, they looked at each other and found out they didn't have any clothes on, and they made some aprons for themselves.
Yeah, mini skirts. How about that? When God was present in the garden, what was the reaction by Adam and Eve?
Well, when they saw God, they went and hid.
Yeah, they probably just heard him coming and took off. When God asked Adam why they hid, what was his reply?
Well, he said, we were naked and we were afraid.
Oh, yes. What did God know immediately?
He knew that they had sinned, but
Yeah.
that tree.
Yeah. What was Adam's remark?
Oh, it's her fault. She gave it to me.
She gave it to me. What was Eve's remark?
It was his fault. He tricked me.
Serpent. How did God show his displeasure with the serpent?
Well, he said, okay for you, guy. You're going to crawl on your belly.
He'd be cursed.
Yep.
Where do we find the first prophecy concerning Jesus?
I think it's Genesis 3:15.
3:15. Where the seed of man and the seed of the serpent would lock horns. Yep. What was the punishment for Eve?
Well, we can thank her for our pain in our childbearing. Because God says he's going to multiply sorrow when you bring forth children, and the husband's going to rule over you.
Yes.
So that's why.
All of that is difficult and resisted by the feminine side of life. What was Adam's punishment?
God says, okay for you, Adam, you're going to have to really work hard with the sweat of your brow. I'm going to curse the ground and you're going to have to fix it.
Yeah. My, oh my. What was going to be the punishment for both of them?
Well, just like God said, you'll die.
You'll
Just
die.
death.
Everyone has died since, except a couple exceptions. Do you know who they are? Okay.
Yeah, one's Elijah.
Adam named his wife Eve, and what is the meaning of her name?
Her name means the mother of all living.
Yeah. Yes, indeed. She was going to be the beginning. What was placed at the garden to turn them away?
God put two cherubims at the opening of the garden with a flaming sword.
So that was it. You're not getting back in this. Maybe they could see it at a distance. I wonder what it looked like. Shining jewel on yonder hill where we could be, but now we aren't. Too many times, the things that we do shut off the goodness of the past, never to be regained. But that's why we need Jesus. And since this is the close of chapter 3, quickly we want to go into chapter 4. Who was the first son born after they were put out of the garden?
The firstborn son was Cain.
Cain. Yep. We hear often in Sunday school of Cain and Abel. What was Eve's comment about Cain?
She was pretty happy. She said, I have gotten a man from the Lord.
A man from the Lord. Her first experience. What an experience. Who was Cain's brother?
Abel.
Abel. What was their occupation?
Abel had sheep, and Cain was a tiller of the ground,
Yeah.
farmer.
What did Cain and Abel do after a process of time?
Well, they brought their the firstlings of their products. The first that they got off there, they brought them.
To sacrifice.
Yeah.
So evidently somewhere along the line, they either had a deep feel that came naturally, like birds that fly south, or God had given them some kind of communication to offer to him. Of which did God have respect?
Abel's.
Abel's. What two things were said of Cain when God didn't respect his offering like his brothers?
Well, he got angry and his countenance fell.
You know, that's a very common thing. When somebody else seems to be getting ahead of me, I get very upset. First, I'm upset instead of trying to learn and find out what is the reason. Next question. What was God's question to Cain?
He says, well, why are you so sad, Cain?
Why are you sad? Did your mom and dad ever say something like that to you? God said, what lieth at Cain's door if he had done wrong?
Well, it would be sin.
His sin. I can't imagine this first experience with death. Now maybe he didn't realize that what he was going to do would end his life, but certainly did. In what way did Cain express his dislike for Abel?
Well, his anger made him kill him.
Killed him. What was God's question of Cain?
He said, where's Abel, your brother?
Where's your brother, man? Yeah. What was his reply?
Smart aleck. He says, am I my brother's keeper?
Yeah. People had a way of figuring out things way back then, didn't they? From where did God hear the blood crying?
From the ground?
Yeah, the blood that soaked into the ground was crying aloud. Murder. Did God pronounce a curse on Cain immediately?
He sure did.
What curse was placed on Cain?
He'd be a fugitive and a vagabond now. Wouldn't be wanted around there.
He's very fortunate, I guess, in a sense, because after the flood, it was capital punishment. What curse was placed? Well, that's the last one. What was Cain's reply to this punishment?
He says, now he's whining. He says, my punishment is greater than I can bear.
That always happens. Hey folks, you cannot pull the bullet back into the gun once it's shot. The consequences are there, and you can't escape consequences. They hurt, they sting. We reap as we sow. What did Cain say would happen to him now?
He says, now I'm going to get killed. He didn't feel safe.
I will be slain because of this. What punishment did the Lord place on a person if someone should kill Cain?
He said, if anybody does that to Cain, sevenfold punishment on the one who does it.
Now, we always talk about the mark that was put on him. A little reading, and if we could know exactly, but some have thought that that mark was more of a pledge, that God would safeguard his life and cause anyone who would kill him to suffer 7 times over, and so that would head off more killing. How were people to know Cain?
Well, that's when God put a mark on him.
Yes. What does the scripture say that Cain now did?
He went out from the presence of the Lord.
I've always thought of that. Isn't that terrible? Who wants or needs or should go out from the presence of the Lord? None of us, folks. You want to do everything you can to be within the presence of the Lord and to please the God of heaven. Where did Cain dwell?
In the land of Nod. It was east of Eden.
Yes, over east. Did Cain ever marry?
Yes.
What was the name of his first son?
Enoch.
And what was the name of the first city?
Enoch.
Yeah. Some thought that that was probably a well-fortified city because of the situation.
Now, Cain was the father of Enoch, who walked with God.
No, that's a different Enoch.
Oh, okay. That's good to know.
Next, who was the first adulterer?
Well, his name was Lamech.
Oh, good old Lamech. What were the names of the three sons of Lamech and their occupations? That's a good one for you.
Oh, let's see if I can do them. Let's see. Jabal, he was a cattleman. Jubal, he was a harp and organ man. And Tubal-Cain, he worked with brass and iron.
Yes. Now it's interesting that this is mentioned, which shows that civilization was progressive right from the beginning. And they have uncovered things that they feel date back, way back even beyond the flood. And things were so delicately put together that people had to be very crafts type of people, very capable. We're almost done with this chapter. What other crime did Lamech commit?
Well, he was a murderer.
Yeah, he did it too. What other son was born to Adam and Eve?
Let's see. Seth.
That was Seth. What was the name of Seth's son?
Enos.
Enos. Was the generation of Seth righteous?
Yes.
Yes, and that brings us to the close of chapter 4. And it's good to know at different spots in history that at different times they did return to a righteousness that was pleasing to God. So these are good questions, and you've done good to answer them, and it won't be long until we'll be back again. So read ahead and learn your Bible, which teaches you the truth that will make you free. And you'll be glad you tuned in. So hear you next time.